What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update, talking about Mickey van der Ven first and foremost, as Romano has given us another update in the last hour, saying that Tottenham proposal sent to Wolfsburg on Wednesday for Mickey van der Ven was €40 million fixed fee plus €5 million in add-ons. Wolfsburg want different payment terms or easier add-ons. Otherwise, the request will be a €50 million package. And a Wolfsburg publication says that Mickey van der Ven is about to move to Tottenham. Wolfsburg request to complete the sale is €50 million. So, I mean, it's a lot larger than what we anticipated. We were talking about €25 million, £30 million, something along that ballpark figure. We're talking about double the price now.
Yeah, it's getting quite pricey, this Van der Ven deal, which is maybe an indication as why this deal has taken so long to do. Because I think Tottenham originally were looking to pay, as you say, £25 million, and now it looks like it's going to be closer to £40 million as what Wolfsburg are requesting at this stage. We heard yesterday Romano claiming the deal's in its final stages. Now we're hearing this kind of price. So unless they've changed the price in the last 24 hours, are we led to believe that this is going to be the price near to what we're going to agree? Which, I mean, is, to be fair, for a player who's only had one season playing top-level football in Europe's top 5 leagues in the Bundesliga last season, it is quite a lot of money, £40 million or £42 million. He's 22 years of age, clearly got a lot of potential, but it is a lot of money. I do think we can get that money down. But then again, I'm thinking, shave off $5 million here or there. I'm not saying you can get it down to $25 million like we were anticipating before. So I wouldn't want to see this deal break down over that kind of fee gap, but Daniel Levy, I can see this one rumbling on now for a few more weeks.
Yeah, the thing is, though, this is kind of the market we're in at the moment. You're looking, I know strikers and defenders go for different prices, and strikers are usually the more hefty of the two, but you're looking at Rasmus Højlund, who's only had pretty much half a season in the Bundesliga, where Serie A, and he's going for 75-80 million. You're looking at Florian Balogun, who's only had one season in the French league, and Arsenal want around 50 million for him. So, I mean, it is kind of the market we're in.
I think the best comparison probably is Livramento, who's just about to go for 40 million from Southampton to Newcastle, albeit English transfers are always going to be a bit more expensive because English teams have money compared to teams around Europe. But that's a very good indication about where the market's at the moment. If Livramento is worth about 40 million, you've got to say Van der Ven's probably in that ballpark as well.
Look, everyone from around Europe knows where the money's at in Europe, and that's the Premier League. And once a Premier League team come calling, I mean, they know they can inflate the price and probably get what they want.
Exactly. If Bayern Munich were in for him, it probably wouldn't cost this much.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's the reality when... Yeah, they know we're flush for cash compared to them anyway.
Not what Daniel Levy would like to lead you to believe, though. Next up, let's talk about Alejo Veliz once again. German Garcia Grover of TYC Sport, who gave us a really good indication of what he will bring, which we'll bring you later on the channel this evening. He's saying that there is a complete agreement between Tottenham and Veliz on a 5-year contract. Spurs and Rosario are just discussing the percentage of the sell-on clause, payment terms, and where he will play until the end of 2023. So just a few more details to iron out, and he most probably will be a Spurs player.
I think it is interesting whether he's going to be a Spurs player now or come in December in 2023. Herman indicated that there might be some work permit issues which might delay the transfer, so it might be out of his hands. But if there isn't a work permit issue and he does enter the first team immediately, and let's say Harry Kane is on the move, I do wonder if that's where, are we just going to go forward with Richarlison and Veliz, and whether how he kind of fits in and how he acclimatizes to the Premier League. I do think it's an exciting transfer. I do think, again, he's a teenager, so it's tough to put a lot of pressure on him, and considering he played, I think last season he scored 11 goals in 30 games, which is pretty good for a 19-year-old, but whether you can put all that pressure on him, as a 19-year-old coming over from Argentina, it's a big ask. But I think we'll get a good indication of how highly we rate him right now is if he stays or goes back on loan.
Yeah, I think if he does stay now, it's a risky game to play if we're not going to bring in any other attackers, to be honest, because he's an unknown quantity at the end of the day, having a couple of seasons at a very young age in the Argentinian league with Rosario Central. So look, I don't really know how to feel about this transfer, because before today I didn't know anything about him. Literally had never heard of him. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how they kind of iron out this deal, what the sticking points are and what they agree to. And we'll bring you that first here on We Are Tottenham TV.
Well, there was a commenter who said he's a cross between Aguero and Gabriel Batistuta, so no pressure.
And Herman's told us that he's a bit like Crouch and he's also a bit like Hernan Crespo.
Exactly, so there you go, all the comparisons.
And Messi says he's like Luis Suarez. So who are we going to believe?
Apparently he's a monster striker who's a mix of all of them, basically. Can't wait.
Let's talk about Frank Kessie now. We thought that Spurs might be in the hunt for Frank Kessie, and they are, to be honest. As Matti Moretto says, though, that Saudi side Al Ali are advancing to sign rumoured Tottenham target Frank Kessie. The Athletic Barcelona respondent is saying that Tottenham were amongst the club interested in Kessie, but he is set to finalise a transfer to Al Ali. And I believe that Romano has also come out and spoke about it, and he said that personal terms have been agreed between Frank Kessie and Al Ali.
Yeah, exactly. And for 12 million, man, 15 million euros, that's what the Athletic are reporting the fee is going to be. And that's absolutely nothing in this market for a player of Kessie's quality who was so good in Serie A for AC Milan, which earned him that move to Barcelona, which hasn't quite worked out, unfortunately, for him. But for that kind of fee, you would have thought other clubs would be interested and would have easily would be prepared to pay that, especially us. If like you could easily sell Højbjerg for 20 million and sign him for 12, and that would be a brilliant piece of business from Tottenham.
Yeah.
But it seems as though he's got his heart set on. I don't know if he's got his heart set on it, but it seems there doesn't seem to be too many options on the table, concrete options anyway, right now, apart from Al Ahly. I don't think even if we want him, we're going to go for him right now. We're probably going to wait to sell players first. So if he's not keen to hang around, I can understand why he's taking the best offer on the table at the moment.
Yeah, I saw another report as well. I'm not sure who the publication was, but they said that Tottenham are waiting to travel out to Barcelona next week to discuss the terms with Barcelona, but it's probably going to be a little too late by then.
Well, it sounds like it because he's saying he's on the brink, and I think it could be the deal could be probably is going to be signed by then. So looks like we're going to miss the boat on this one.
Very frustrating
And
for
Alex
such
Scott as well.
Yeah, both of them very frustrating for a very kind fee as well for the quality of the player.
That's what happens when you don't get your business done early, like sales, and like if we could have said Højbjerg a few weeks ago and whatever, we could have been on the case for Kessie and Scott, but because we're dawdling, we're missing out on our targets.
Absolutely. And let's talk about Ange's press conference tomorrow. Dan Kilpatrick says that Spurs have cancelled a press conference tomorrow with Ange Postecoglou ahead of Sunday's friendly with Shakhtar, citing a lack of demand from the media. And this is something I really, really struggle to believe, to be honest. I mean, how can there be a lack of interest from the media with everything surrounding Harry Kane, everything surrounding a new manager at the club, and his first game at the new stadium, as well as other potential players that we have signed, like James Maddison, Vicario, Solomon, all these players' first game at the new stadium. And they're citing a lack of interest. I mean, I don't buy that whatsoever.
Very peculiar. It must be just to avoid the awkward Harry Kane question
100%.
that Postecoglou set to face ahead of the meeting that Levy had with the Bayern board. I'm sure Postecoglou would have been asked about that. We've seen players in midweek being asked about Kane and given very shifty answers. Obviously, we don't know what is going on just yet with the Harry Kane stuff, whether Bayern are prepared to meet the fee. At the moment, the latest reports are that there's still a big gap in the valuation between Spurs and Harry Kane. So how close that transfer is, we don't know. But the cancellation of this press conference is definitely peculiar, because I think right now there's definitely more interest now than there would have been in the last press conference or the one before that. So I don't understand why they would cite that as an excuse. That just sounds like a made-up excuse. Lack of media.
They're trolling
interest.
the media with this excuse. They're literally trolling the media.
That? I'll go. Put it on. I'll come. We'll ask some questions. There's some interest. Come on.
I reckon this Tottenham press conference has so much interest, probably more interest than they've ever had, probably in recent times. So, I mean, I think you're right. This is totally just to avoid the uncomfortable Harry Kane questions to Ange Postecoglou.
Very odd. I've never seen that done before. They've just cancelled one and cited a bullshit reason like that. I've never seen that.
I mean, it's a shame the Premier League isn't coming around sooner, because they wouldn't have been able to cancel that one.
No, exactly.
But let's move on. Rodrigo Bentancur has given us an update regarding his injury. Apparently, a fan did ask him when he's going to be back, and he says, I need 2 more months. So maybe a bit sooner than we anticipated. If he is back October, you probably imagine he'll be back full fitness maybe in November time, something like that. So maybe it's not earlier than expected. Maybe it's actually right on time, to be honest.
Yeah, October, what was about 8 months, isn't it? I think 8-9 months was the prediction, the time frame. It's a serious injury. And even when he does come back into full training, it's still going to be, unless he's done some really great work in his recovery, like making sure like he's hasn't lost a lot of like muscle atrophy and all that kind of stuff when you're kind of recovering from such a big injury, which is possible. We did see when Van Dijk came back from that injury, he was pretty good for the first year. And I know last season he wasn't great, but the season when he did come back from injury, he was actually really, really good. So it has been done before where you can come back and be the player you were, but usually the rule there, I would say Van Dijk is probably the exception to the rule. The rule was usually players of that of that injury take a good at least 5-6 months to get back to where they were before that injury and get back to a kind of really good level. So even if Bentancur is back in October time, it would be great. It would be great to see him back on the pitch, and I'm sure he can help us. But I don't expect to see the Bentancur we saw, first half of last season, probably until the season after next, unfortunately, in my opinion. But I'm very happy. I would be happy to be surprised.
Yeah. And last but not least, let's talk about a new centre-back. Well, not new, but new for the last couple of days. He goes by the name of Per Schurz, and Orazio Commando are claiming that Tottenham have come forward again for Torino centre-back Per Schurz, willing to raise the offer both to Torino and to the player. He has had a verbal agreement with Crystal Palace for some time, but Spurs are looking to gazump that deal.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting if that's the case, because he's a right-sided centre-back. He is fairly young, a young centre-back for Torino. He, from what I can see, he plays on the right or the left. Quite good on the ball, but is he a player who's going to be competing for the first team, unlike Van de Ven or Tapsoba? I don't know. I don't know enough about him to suggest that. From what I've looked at, like, he seems to be he's got decent underlying stats, and he seems to play a lot for Torino, seems to be at a good age. But does he seem to be a player that would be front of the queue for Tottenham to be upgrading their centre-back position? Doesn't seem that way, but maybe they're seeing him as a solid backup option.
Yeah, he is 23 years of age. On transfer market, it's got a market value of 25 million euros. I mean, I don't really know much about him to comment, to be honest. He hasn't had any caps for the Netherlands or anything like that. He does have quite a hefty, well, not that hefty, to be honest. He's got it runs out 2026 with an option for a further year, but his market value has more than doubled in the last 2 years. So I don't know. He was an Ajax Academy graduate. That's all I can tell you about him, really.
That bodes well, usually. Ajax Academy graduate means he knows how to play.
Well, he joined
football
Ajax.
Well.
He joined Ajax at a very young age. He wasn't an academy graduate, actually. He came from Fortuna Sittard, and then Ajax bought him in 2018.
That's 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So 18. So yeah, he pretty much came through Ajax. Like, he joined them at 18, but he had probably a long time with their academy and stuff like that. So probably bodes well, but I don't know how well he's been doing for Torino and stuff like that.
Well, any Torino fans, come and give us the lowdown, and we'll relay it to you guys. But thank you, everyone, for watching today. That is your Tottenham update. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.